A Maine student says that her high school suspended her for bullying after she put up these sticky notes in the girls' bathroom calling out a rapist. I'm joined now by that student, Aela Mansmann, who is appealing that suspension along with her mom, Shale Norris. Ladies, thanks for being here. And Aela, first to you. You say someone in your school was raped. The rapist is still there. You talked to the school about it. They wanted to hear nothing of it. Tell me how this all went down. What did they say to you?
Yeah, so when I initially put up the first note, the school opened an investigation, and they told us that they were really just trying to make sure that the school was safe, and that whoever put up the sticky notes was not going to be punished. And the investigation went on for, I believe, roughly 3 weeks. Yeah, and then in the end, I think they closed the investigation because everyone that put up the sticky notes came forward, and that's how it ended.
What about the actual allegations of the rapist, though?
The school, so when they initially found out, it was months, maybe years before the sticky notes came out. Each survivor disclosed to the school roughly around the time that their assault happened. And they had all told me that they had disclosed to the school and that no steps had been taken to keeping them safe in school and punishing the multiple perpetrators that we have in our school.
So they actually said that your notes and some of the things that you said to students amounts to bullying. What do you believe that possibly you may have said that led to this suspension?
Well, they had told me that the sticky notes is what led to the suspension and the bullying claims. And that confuses me personally, just because the sticky notes didn't have a name on them. And the one that I put up, I know for sure did not have a name. So then at that point, how do you know if you're being targeted by the sticky note if there isn't a name on it and there is multiple perpetrators in the school?
Mom, what about you? Do you believe the sticky note was the way to go? I mean, you're a part of a sexual assault prevention group. How do you feel about how the school has handled this?
To your question about whether or not it was the right tack to go, I want to be very clear. These kids asked for help long before the sticky notes went up. They went to a school board meeting in June. They stood before the school board. They asked permission to speak. They told about the assaults. They told about their perceived feeling that the school hadn't done enough, and they really asked the school to work with them to create a robust sexual assault response policy for their school. Many schools lack in this. I do this work, and I do this work with high school students. The organization I founded was with a group of high school sexual assault survivors. It's called SafeBAE. And I believe that the school is not unusual in the fact that there are perpetrators in the school. That's not a unique situation. Most, if not all, schools have them. It's just a matter of how the school is deciding whether or not to be proactive in managing that situation. I felt that all along, as the situation blew up after the sticky notes, that it would have been entirely appropriate to assemble their entire student body and talk to them about safe dating practices and consent, affirmative consent, and also ways to report if you don't feel comfortable reporting in school, how to go about it. We have amazing resources in Southern Maine for survivors to come forward and get advocates and get support and help. And I felt that the best thing to do would just be to pull their students together and educate them about those resources, and also train their staff in mandated reporting, in trauma-informed responses. I think there's a lot of opportunities to learn from this, and I think this is a tipping point in our entire culture in the U.S. and in all schools. You know, colleges used to kind of have the same tack of kind of quietly dismissing things or not taking better care of their students. And the tipping point came on college campuses. Now we need it to happen in secondary education.
And Aela, I know you say you take these extreme measures by putting up those sticky notes because they weren't taking those actions and because they weren't being more proactive. And sometimes, as your mom is pointing out, it takes that yet you were suspended for it. We want to put up the school's statement on this. They say the matter that you were alleging was exhaustively investigated and that we took action that the law and policy require. And they say that buttons it up. Now you're suspended for it. And you're trying to appeal this. You'll find out today if that will happen. Are you confident it will?
I really don't know. I think it could go either way. I don't want to even try to speak on behalf of my school administration, but in my head, it doesn't make sense for myself and the other people that were suspended to be suspended. It just doesn't make sense to me.
We've retained the ACLU to come with us to the meeting, so we're hopeful that that might shift.
And, you know, finally to you, Mom, I think every mother tries to instill in their daughter, you need to speak up, you need to report, and people need to listen to you. What is the lesson for your daughter in all of this?
Boys and girls. This is not, and everyone in between. I think the entire spectrum of gender is not, everyone needs to stand up, be a bystander and an active bystander. And I think that, you know, the lesson for my daughter is keep going and use this opportunity to get other people to see that they too can be, an active participant in this conversation, an ally to survivors. My daughter is not a survivor. She's an ally. She just strongly believes that if we put this in the hands of just survivors to advocate for better practices and safer schools, then we'll never get anywhere. It's a responsibility of every single student, regardless of gender, sexuality, age. It is up to all of us to come together. The one thing I think that I'm really hopeful about is that it's sparking a lot of conversations between parents and their kids and school districts about how to become proactive. And, you know, we're here. There's incredible advocacy organizations like mine and others. And I really think that it's a matter of putting free resources in the hands of kids to become advocates and vocal and outspoken allies.
Well, we're going to continue to follow this. I know they're making a decision on that suspension today. Aela Mansmann and Shale Norris, thank you for taking the time for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.